Welcome back to the Kempire Daily YouTube channel, where you get daily and consistent hot topics in music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. As you come into the chat, let us know where you're watching from. Drop those elephants, drop those crowns. And as you know, this is our weekly recap of the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City episode, of course, with a sprinkle of Potomac, because we have to talk about Potomac with my special guests, Up and Adam, and Down with Jason. So a round of applause to them. What's going on, guys?
Hi.
I know I got applause somewhere. Here we go. Guys, first of all, welcome back. It feels like forever, even though I do watch when you guys do your hot, messy topics. So, what's
seriously? Yeah, not much. I don't know. Yeah, it's been a minute, huh? Since last week.
It feels like I've been in a time warp.
I know. Are you guys ready for the holidays?
Yeah, I mean, I keep telling everybody, especially on my channel, Jason and I are going glamping with my big Southern family, which is going to be a mess, but it's always something to look forward to.
Keyword glamping and not camping.
Oh my God.
No.
If you saw this cabin, you'd be like, oh, wow. It's so nice, but it's like, this is the only way. We're not staying in a tent.
It's still, you have to go outside and like sit outside and like eat outside and stuff. So it's kind of camping-ish, right?
Yeah, but they have like indoor bathrooms and like marble countertops, and it's not the worst.
And like Kempire, I would fail at, what is that? Naked and Afraid. I would be ultimate, like, it would take me 5 minutes to be like, I'm done. That's it.
Yeah, no.
I have no survival skills, so I'll be done if there's ever something that happens.
I'm still saying that I want this to be filmed. I just feel like this is film worthy.
I mean, I don't know if my camera will make it back.
Oh.
So I don't know. I would put the camera in my parents' face, or like my sister who's like lashing out, and I'd be like, can you do that again? And she'd probably slap it out of my hand. So I don't know.
Damn. Well, try. I just feel like this would be such a great content for both of your channels. I'm just like,
I feel like when I least expect it, like when I'm line dancing or something, because that's my favorite thing to do. Is there's all these like different kinds of dances. I don't even know what they're called, but since I used to be a dancer, it's like really fun to just like learn it and do it. And then I get like lost in it. And I feel that's where Adam's going to pull out a camera or something. And then I'm gonna be like, ugh.
Yes.
All right. I'm looking forward to it, guys. But before we jump into this recap, Janae, thank you so much for the super chat. I can't wait to see what Stu has to say in court against Jen Shah. We're going to get to that, because we did have some news last week, guys, since the last time we went live about Stu Chains. But we'll get into it. I want to ask Stu Chains. I want to ask you guys, first off, what was your reaction to part 3 of the Real Housewives of Potomac reunion? I'll start with Jason.
Okay. So I just said this on my channel. I think Nicki Minaj did more in 3 minutes than we've seen in 3 parts of this reunion.
Damn.
Yeah. But I have to say, just really quick, I have enjoyed this season of Potomac. It never disappoints me, just especially the past few seasons. And I haven't, I mean, yeah, 4 parts was too long, but I've enjoyed watching the reunion as well.
Okay, Adam?
I think I learned 2 things. 1, I feel like we need Nicki at every Potomac reunion. And 2, I feel like the husbands should not drink before they come on to the reunion. I feel like that's a recipe for disaster. And I think we saw a little bit of that last night.
Specifically for whom? Or you do not want to say?
The only one with a drink.
Yeah, I was about to say, if you watch the episode, you'll see I'm not getting in a Twitter feud for the holidays, but
well, you know, I got nothing to do. No, I'm just kidding.
Also looked a little lit. She also looked a little lit.
I mean, I'm sure, listen, it depends what housewife we're talking about. Like Brandi Glanville would come on always after having a few drinks or whatever else. And, you know, some of them like Karen Huger won't have a drink before she films now. So it really depends, but it shows who's completely there. I mean, she seemed like she was fine to me. I didn't really get her off, you know, being, I don't know. I feel like she was fine. I just don't know about the rest.
I know you guys probably heard about Karen Huger possibly getting her own spinoff. There have been mixed reactions to that, and I have to pick your brains because we haven't talked about it. Adam, what do you think about a Karen Huger spinoff? Are you excited for that?
You know, I talked about this on Hot Messy Topics, and I wanted opinions because I was thinking at first, what kind of drama is Karen Huger going to bring to the table? You know, it's supposed to be her son Brandon, her daughter Raven, and Ray Huger. And then we're going to get like a little bit of a focus on her businesses. But then I had a caller and her name's Kristen, and she said, well, this is interesting because it's a new phase of Karen's life. We don't need all the drama. It's more of like a feel-good series. And when I digested that, I'm like, okay, that's good because, you know, Beverly Hills feels so dark right now. So does Salt Lake City. This might actually be great. I just don't want it on Bravo. I would rather have it on Peacock.
Oh, damn.
No, but that's good. No, honestly, that's not a bad thing because Peacock, their editing and production value right now, the level of the way that they're producing everything, it looks amazing. They're killing it compared to Bravo.
What about you, Jason? What do you think about this Karen Huger's possible spinoff?
I'm going to have to agree. I'm actually here for it. I would like to see like a day in the life. I would like to see what's going on with the business of Grande La Dame or La Dame. I would love to see that. I think integrating her family into it would be a lot of fun. I think it's going to be light. But I have to agree, Adam, I'd like to see it on Peacock only because a Karen Huger spinoff with the way and the format they're using kind of on Peacock right now would, I think, be great. I mean, if we can go through a Paris Hilton wedding on Peacock, we can absolutely get a Karen Huger spinoff.
Well, I'll just emphasize this, that they have not confirmed that a Karen Huger spinoff is going to actually happen, but there have been hints, including cameras and green screens. Adam, you wanted to say something?
No.
Okay. I'm excited. Look, the reunion, I really do not believe they needed 4 parts. But as Jason said, I do believe that Nicki Minaj really did bring a lot in those last 2-3 minutes that she came out. Next week's episode of the reunion is going to be all Nicki. But there were quite a few different fights that came up during part 3 and a lot of failed attempts at receipts. Can we talk about Dr. Wendy Osefo's receipts? Adam, what did you think about her receipts? Did they land? Did she stick the landing?
No. I mean, I agree with Andy. How do you go from last season 5, Monique showing up with a whole binder that's color categorized by name and like, I mean, it was so insane, this binder, to showing up with a manila folder and a blown up piece of cardboard of a text that really wasn't even relevant to the conversation. I mean, it was relevant, but it wasn't any evidence or proof. It didn't do anything for us. And the worst part was when Andy shot her down and was like, this is disappointing. I was like,
that was the part for me. And you know, I'm very critical of Andy, but I had to agree with him. Those receipts were not receipting. Jason, what was your reaction to Wendy and her receipts?
My whole thing is if you're bringing props, they have to land. They have to stick it, as you said. And they just didn't. I was confused actually for most of it. I was like, I don't know what she's trying to say. I don't know what's happening. You know, it didn't.
Can we talk about Robyn? Because apparently Robyn's friend called into my channel last night. This is all alleged because I don't know if this is really Robyn's friend. She says she was texting with Robyn.
I'm surprised she has a friend.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. She would make a great friend on the show, though.
Oh, and that leads me to my question. Jason, do you think that Robyn, I was about to say Robyn Givens. No, Robyn Dixon should come back next season based on her performance at this reunion?
Based on the performance? Well, I think the reunion part 3 has been the most we've seen her all season. So
yeah,
based on her performance in the reunion, I don't know. I've been saying that I think she'd be a great friend, and we can replace her with an equally as, I don't know, just another housewife would be great. But if we have to, I guess, I just don't know what we're going to watch.
That's not reassuring. Adam?
So no, my answer is no.
I mean, I say this about Teddy Mellencamp. I say it about Robyn. I feel like they might be great outside of housewives. They might be great moms and great wives, girlfriends, fiancés, whatever you want to call her. Yeah. But on reality TV, she doesn't do it for me. And that's not a bad thing. I feel like she's taking up a spot where someone else could be more beneficial to the conversation, because Robyn, 1, she looks like she doesn't want to be there. 2, she doesn't have a storyline. And 3, if you asked anybody in the chat who you would get rid of first, 9 times out of 10, unless they're mad with Candace in her mouth, it's going to be Robyn.
Yeah, well, like at this point, last night, I at first I was saying bring her back as a friend of, but based on her performance at this reunion, even though I was on Robyn's side when it came to her beef with Wendy, and when I say on her side, at the reunion, I was on her side, not during the season. But based on what Robyn was saying, I believe Robyn. I believe Robyn's intentions were not necessarily pure, but not as bad as Wendy was trying to make them out to be. And as we were saying, those receipts just were not receipting.
Well, and I feel like for Dr. Wendy Osefo, we've seen this since the first part of the reunion where she keeps jumping ahead because she has a point and she's trying to make it. And you can tell that she came with this calculated idea of what points she wants to hit, what she wants to address, and what she's not going to take. However, every time, Andy starts talking, she's jumping ahead thinking it's that moment. And then finally, when she gives us the moment with these receipts, like you both said, they didn't land. So it just, Dr. Wendy Osefo, I see what she tried to come to do. I appreciate it, but it didn't land.
But based off of her performance at the reunion, I'm going to ask the same question that I asked about Robyn coming back. Based on Dr. Wendy Osefo's performance at this reunion, do you think that she should come back for another season? Adam, we'll start with you.
I mean, yes. Okay. I like Dr. Wendy Osefo on here, and I feel like this was her second season, and she came in a little bit more passionate and sticking up for herself, and we got to see a different side of the professor. I think she deserves the third season. Listen, if you're going to give Robyn 6 seasons, yes, you better give Dr. Wendy Osefo at least 3. Come on. Hello? No.
Oh, damn. Jason?
Yeah, I'd like to see her back, of course. I like seeing the difference between the first season and her second season. I'm here for her third. But yeah, I would just like to see probably another housewife too.
And I'll ask you guys this question as well. Guys, if you're just joining us, I'm here, of course, with Up and Adam and Down with Jason. All of their information is located in the description of this video. Be sure to follow, subscribe. We do this on a weekly basis when we recap a little bit of Potomac, but mostly the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. We'll be talking about that in just a second. But don't forget to like the video. It's an easy and free way of supporting the channel. But based off of what we saw during this reunion with the husbands, guys. The husbands finally come out, but of course there are 2 missing folks. Of course, Juan Dixon is not there, and Michael Darby. At one point, Ashley says that Michael Darby has never, for lack of a better word, basically has done what Gordon did. And Gordon, what did Gordon really do besides lick his lips at and tongue at Karen Ugert? Who do you think is worse, Gordon or Michael Darby?
Ooh.
I think they're bad in 2 different ways. Like, we don't know G to be cheating on his wife, committing infidelity, and out here getting caught on camera, grabbing people's butts or in hotel rooms, right?
Yeah.
But we don't know Michael Darby to go up to any of the other women and make these pretty gross gestures. Like, even if it's...
he saves that for the men.
Yeah, right. But, if you... call it what you will, it's weird, it's tacky. You don't go up to somebody like that's like if you went up to Jason and you're like, how are you doing, and just started like licking your lips or whatever. It's tacky. You don't do that to somebody, especially as a man doing it to a woman. And then also him going in on Ashley, also tacky. So I think they're both bad for their own reasons. Michael's probably worse though.
What Michael's worse? Like, let's
yeah.
G was like, I work hard, play hard. That's Mia said that too. I don't know what kind of understanding they have in their relationship, because they kind of just put it all out there. But like the licking lips and stuff at Karen, it was just like, I took it differently. I was like, this is ridiculous, and she did too. So it was like, I don't know, it was funny. It wasn't
but I don't think
as dramatic as like being caught in a hotel room with someone,
right? But I don't think it was it was really that threw everybody off. I think it was that, and then the way that he talked when he was drinking to Mia, and then also the way that he was going in on Ashley. I feel like it was just annoying. But one thing that I have to say about him, and Ashley was just as taken aback, was the fact that he could own it and be like, listen, I watched it back. I didn't love what I saw, and Ashley, I'm sorry. And when she looked at him and was like, well, damn.
Accountability. Accountability is nice. It's like, okay, I messed up. I'm sorry. And actually, that made me respect G a little bit. I was like, all right. Cool.
Me too.
He's not there to fight with the ladies. He was like, okay. But speaking of going in on Ashley, Nicki Minaj makes a surprise appearance in the last 2 to 3 minutes of the Real Housewives of Potomac reunion. Guys, what was your reaction to her going in on Ashley immediately? And we heard the rumors that she went in on all of them, but definitely she went in on Ashley in those first couple of minutes.
Go ahead, Jason.
I was shocked that Ashley was the first person.
Really? Who did you think it would be?
I thought it would be, for some reason, I thought it would be Candace.
Oh.
But yeah, I was shocked. But then I was like, oh my God, you just keep going. Then I was even more shocked that Candace stood up for Ashley. And then she came for her. I was like, oh, I cannot wait till next week, because these 3 minutes put me in like, I don't know what I just watched for 3 hours for 3 weeks, but I'm ready for the next one. You know?
Yes.
So bravo, they got us. They got us, and I'm here for it.
Always. Adam?
I mean, same here. For Nicki Minaj, I love that Andy Cohen came in and immediately said, we don't have to, play Switzerland. You can take whoever side you want and just do whatever you want. You're the host. And when she sat down and she's like, I love you guys. Hi. How are you doing? Okay, here we go. I was like, oh. And I said this to Jason earlier. Nicki Minaj, like the way that Candace or Erica snaps at Andy, or the way that Candace and the other women snap at each other, Nicki is not going to sit back and let any of these women punk her. She's not going to do it. So if they get snippy, she's going to be like, I don't work for this network. I don't care. Let's do this. So
can you imagine Nicki at the Beverly Hills reunion?
Oh my God.
It would have been amazing.
I don't know if she even watches Beverly Hills. She definitely watches Potomac. She said in this that she has watched since the beginning. Not sure if she is a fan of Beverly Hills, but that would have been epic. I want to say thank you to Zoe so much for the super chat. She said, Dear Wendy, listen to understand, not respond. Very true. Janae, thank you so much for the super chat. Hey, H is a troll farm. You got to block him. He's repeating the same complaint over and over again. Where is he? I don't see H. Hold on. Let me go up here, y'all. We got trolls in the chat. Hold on.
We just had one too.
It happens. Look, that means you're doing something right.
Yeah, we had one saying to go to TMZ because Lisa Vanderpump is announcing her comeback.
Oh, okay.
You know what I have to say really quick, though, is I like how Nicki set it up. She's like, listen, I love you guys. I love the show. That's why I'm here.
Yeah.
So, but I want to ask questions. And I feel like that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to it. I don't think that this part 4 will be anything of necessarily what we are used to when it comes to reunions, but it should definitely be fun to watch.
Now, Kempire, I have a question.
Yeah.
Does this set the bar higher for other reunions? And will we have guest hosts joining reunions now? Because now I think we're going to expect it. And we've gone from a reunion to a 2-part, to a 3-part, to a 4-part. Now we need a guest host.
Yeah. Look, I've been saying this before, and I've said to you guys as well. Andy, look, this is his franchise. He's going to get paid if he hosts regardless. He's making millions off of this franchise. I think he needs to let it go and allow other people, up and coming people, host a reunion, because I think this will spark more interest in the franchise, in the reunions. And then look, it doesn't have to be us. It could be anyone that's talented that can host these reunions. It just can't be Andy anymore. I think he needs to separate himself. And I think he would also be relieved. He won't be as, criticized as he is now.
Well, I think too, when we see him, it would be more, oh, Andy's here. Okay, something happened. He builds himself some more credibility, not credibility, but he builds himself some more like oomph in a sense. I wonder if he should do the same with Watch What Happens Live.
Ooh.
Now I'm just like, can you imagine Nicki Minaj hosting Watch What Happens Live, having 2 of the women on the show, a bartender? Like, it would just be fun.
I think this was fun for Nicki. I think Nicki's busy, but a lot of times when people make suggestions on who to host, I always say, let's stop choosing people we already know. Let's pick people that we know that are up and coming. Let's give people opportunities that need these opportunities. Nicki doesn't need this. You know what I mean? She has enough. This was fun and cute, but Nicki has a day job. She can't do this.
People who interview people who talk about this all the time, like, why you guys should go on and host together.
Look, I'll pay you later, Jason.
Okay. Sunday nights with Kempire, Monday nights with Adam, and then let Andy have a few nights,
But look, we'll have more control doing it on our platforms than we would necessarily on a Bravo or NBC Universal, to be honest.
100%.
Adam, I want to know your thoughts on all of this, because I see the brain ticking.
Well, no, I think for Andy Cohen, I believe he likes the celebrity that is attached to being on the, all of the franchises and hosting. I think that's why he's the one with the talk show. We've seen in the past before where Kathy Griffin has blasted him out for this. Yeah. And we know that the ratings aren't high. I love Andy Cohen on it, but just like I was disappointed when Pirates of the Caribbean, when that came to an end, I think all good things come to an end. And I think it's better to cap it while you're on a high or you start to see a decline instead of just.
Hey, I was like, you seen those ratings, Adam?
No, I know. But I mean, not just on Watch What Happens Live, though. I mean, in general, like people still like him on Bravo hosting the reunions, but I could see where eventually we have to phase into. I mean, they have to continue to evolve. We have to get fresh faces in there. It would be funny to see more people. Do I always think it's going to be as exciting as Nicki Minaj? No, I don't think Bravo can afford that. But it's
early.
Interesting.
I wonder if Nicki was paid. I'm sure she was paid something, but probably like union fee or something. I don't think she was probably paid.
They paid for a flight.
Yeah, it was probably like when Jonah Hill signed on to do Wolf of Wall Street. He was like, he wanted to be a part of it so bad, and they only paid him like $40,000. And he's like, I don't care. I'm next to Leo DiCaprio. Like for her, she might be still she's still a human. So she might be a super fan and be like, this is going to be fun. I don't care if you pay me $30,000. Good. I'll come. I'll do it.
Yeah. So it would be interesting. Guys, if you're just joining us, I'm, of course, here with Up and Adam and Down with Jason. Be sure to like the video if you haven't liked it already, and be sure to follow them. Next week, I believe we're on Adam's channel recapping the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. So let's jump into Salt Lake City. The episodes are getting better and better. Jen Shah has been arrested. Stu Chainz has turned on her. He's changed his plea from not guilty to guilty. First of all, we haven't talked about Stu Chainz changing his guilty plea. What does this look like for Jen Shah, Adam? I know you have a reaction because you've been following this story as well.
I mean, I can't say good, right? We talked to Emily D. Baker. I've talked to Ronald Richards before about this, and he was on the documentary. We know that there is this sort of tier situation with the whole alleged fraud ring, and Jen Shah is placed at the top, and everyone else has taken plea deals. So now I think there might be one person left. And the problem is everyone takes a plea deal. It will be to take this deal in order to cooperate and let us know any information you have on Jen Shah. Yeah. Now, if everyone takes a plea deal and she's the last one left, there's nothing that she can cooperate on, which means the court's going to say, oh, well, you feel like you didn't do anything wrong. You're not taking accountability. Here, let's make sure that your time sticks. It's not a good situation for her. I honestly believe with their conviction rate, I think that she will most likely spend some time behind bars. I hope this is not true and she's maintaining she's innocent, but it doesn't look good.
Yeah. Jason, what was your reaction to Stu Chainz changing his plea?
Well, they want the big fish, I think. And I don't know if, Jen Shah is the top of the food chain, but yeah, he has to do what he has to do to protect his family. But then when I question things, and because I'm watching Jen deflect, of course, when she's in with her lawyer and talking like, oh, poor me and my family and stuff, I'm thinking like, I remembered how you talked to that designer. I remember how you flip your, all the time. Mm-hmm. And I'm just wondering like, what is really behind all of this? Because it's insane. But yeah, Stu's just trying to save his butt.
I feel like Lisa Barlow said it too. She's like, I think we don't know who this woman is. And I'm sure that's how it feels like for them. But I think the biggest shocker too I took away from the Stu stuff is that he admitted to penalty of perjury. I believe that's what it was. And in doing so, it caught him another charge, which means we know that Jen is looking at a collective, 2 charges, 30 years, 20 years equaling 50 years, but she won't get that. And now Stu's looking at 70. It's like, yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if he's now throwing Jen under the bus all he can because he still has kids. He has a wife. He doesn't want to spend the rest of his life in prison.
It's a rough situation, but we'll skip ahead to because we only got one pretty short scene with Jen Shah since she's been arrested with her attorney, and I have to say that conversation seemed very strategic. I've only helped people in my life, and she starts crying. I don't recall seeing any tears coming out of those eyes. Adam, what was your reaction to what she was saying? Because I felt it was very strategic.
Well, it has to be strategic, right? Because, as soon as she came out of the courtroom, she lawyered up. And when she lawyered up, they asked her not to continue on social media or filming. Now, just like Erica Girardi, she opted out of the guidance that they gave her. And she's like, no, I'm going to film. So coming on and filming, she's very aware the cameras are there. She's not going to say, oh, why did I get caught? She's going to be like, oh no, I've only been a great citizen, a great human being. I've given back, and now I'm worried about my family, which, by the way, it still works like innocent until proven guilty. So, I mean, I saw where some people are already saying she's guilty, and I'm like, you better be careful because Jen Shah technically is still innocent, and she'll come after you.
I think she has way too many legal troubles to worry about people saying that she's guilty. She doesn't need to
100%
at this point, unless she hires one of Lisa's 6 attorneys. And we're going to talk about Lisa. Jason, what was your reaction to Jen Shah defending herself with her attorney? Even her attorney's like, "We believe you're innocent." Of course you do. You have to.
That's what you're getting paid for. Yeah, absolutely. And you're getting paid to hopefully keep her innocent. But I mean, there's a lot of details and things we don't know, but I keep looking at Jen, and in every situation from the first season to this season, there's always deflection. Yeah. There's always like, it becomes, I'm the victim, poor me. Oh my gosh. What about, this is not what I wanted. This is not what I did. I'm so confused because now, like I said, I keep going back to like how she spoke to the designer for the dress. I keep going back to how she, put her hand on Heather and how reactive she is. I just find this to be just more deflection. And I mean, right now, it really doesn't look good.
One thing I'm going to say, and I know, Jason, you agree with me because we've been talking about this the last few episodes on how Mary Cosby has really been, she's not really the focal point, but she has added to the hilarity of this show. And I have to say, if Jen doesn't come back, I think we will be okay.
I think we're going to be okay too. I'm with you on that because it's gone from the comedic relief to like it's getting more insane right now. Like her reactions, her whole demeanor is getting a little more. It's I don't know, just crazy. It's not that funny crazy anymore. It's like borderline. Like, are you all right? But I do see something brewing, and she's also deflecting on her church.
Yeah, and we're going to talk. I'm sure next week we're going to talk even more about the church. But Adam, I'm going to ask you this: the ladies at the beginning of this episode are still talking about Jen Shah being arrested and about a private investigator. Meredith hired a private investigator because they were receiving threatening texts, and the way that Lisa gathered it possibly was Jen was because she used the BCUZ. And I was like, I know some people that use that. How did you narrow it down to Jen? What was your reaction to the conversation that the ladies were having about Jen Shah being arrested and their loyalty to her as a friend?
I think that they're all too... Listen, I'm going to go based off of Beverly Hills. I feel like a lot of the women were too afraid to dive too much into it because they didn't know, will that make me look like I know something? Will I be implicated? Everyone was fearful because you're messing with a huge investigation. Right. And now pan over to Salt Lake City. This is not civil. This is criminal. And now, you have Homeland Security, people with semi-automatic weapons, like rolling up on you, the FBI, NYPD. I think that they're afraid to say what they know, but I feel like they know a lot more than they're telling us. Like, what is this deal about Lisa Barlow? I don't know. I can't say anything. Who was she meeting up with when she got out of the Uber? 1. And then 2, you're talking about these text messages and you're so quick to flip on her. And Jen Shah just said that on Twitter in a response to something Lisa tweeted. She said, it's funny that when the FBI and HSI shows up for another cast member, everyone's still talking about me. And Jen Shah was like, that's because you flipped on me faster than a burnt pancake or something. And I was like, what? But she is immediately going to, I don't know her. Oh, guys, I can't say everything. And she's like wanting someone else to run with it. We saw Meredith get so annoyed in this episode because she's like, what are you saying, Lisa? Get to the point. She's like, I'm not saying anything.
Their friendship seems to be on very thin ice, Meredith and Lisa. We're seeing more and more signs of that, especially when it comes with the Mary Cosby rumors. Jason, what was your reaction to the ladies discussing their loyalty to Meredith? I mean, to Jen Shah. It seems as if Heather is her ride or die still.
And that's confusing to me.
Yeah.
It is because, Jen was never ride or die for Heather. So it was just kind of, I was confused. Like, I think she's still lost.
Yeah.
But I find it, I mean, I don't want to say too quick. Like, people are coming to judgments too quickly. Jenny seems to think they're coming to judgments too quickly and talking about her when we don't know the details, because we still don't. They don't. No. Jenny even went as far to say, well, if I wasn't here, what would they say about me? Yeah. So I think they're really trying to decide where they're trying to place Jen in their lives, in their storylines. Yeah. And,
I can appreciate Jenny and what she said, but we also have to remember Jenny's new to the group. The only person she really knows for years is Lisa Barlow. So Jenny can come into the situation, just like, oh, well, we don't know anything yet, because you really don't know her. So I get where she's coming from. But these ladies have had a lot of history with Jen, problematic history with Jen. Should they automatically believe that she's done this? Maybe they know a lot more than they're sharing. And they're like, well, she's definitely capable.
And they're sharing a lot of inconsistencies in her stories, whether it's getting off from a Lyft or something, from an Uber in some intersection, whether it's, receiving text messages, or whether a social media manager is running her Twitter account. Like, we just don't know from Jen. So there's a lot of inconsistencies and mystery.
Oh, Adam, I want to ask you this. Going back to Jen Shah being with her attorney, and she talks about the phone call that she received. That seems to be interesting and inconsistent. What was your reaction to her explaining who called her? Because she says that it wasn't Coordinator Shah, it was someone else on the line.
Well, I asked about this in Hot Messy Topics, and someone came up with a pretty good point. They thought, because if you see her answer the phone, she goes, "Hey, baby." Mm-hmm. They thought, once you add that with the footage of, them coming out with the guns, or them standing outside of the house with the weapons, and like having her son and her nephew leave the premises, it's making me think, okay, it could have been her son or her nephew. I think that's exactly who it was. I don't think that Coach Shah would have called and messed with the investigation. I think that he's smarter than that, especially with his background of being a lawyer. Mm-hmm. It makes sense that the kids would be the ones who would have made the call. Like, hey, Mom, something's going on. There's a bunch of police officers out here and they're storming the house. Where are you?
But when she was, Adam, you pointed this out to me, but when she was speaking about it in her confessional, she's like, oh, I got a call from a number that looked like my husband's number, but it wasn't my husband. And I'm like, a number? Do you not have him saved in your phone? But then she was looking, if you go back in her confessional, she looks like she's like trying to remember what she told herself to say in the confessional. And it threw me off a bit. I was like,
I didn't trust a word that was coming out of Jen Shah's mouth in that moment, to be honest with you, because it seemed as if there's definitely inconsistency on, and I don't understand why she would lie about that, because if Coordinator Shah did call her, maybe she doesn't want to incriminate him as giving her a heads up, because then he would be involved and then maybe a charge would go against him. But it also seems as if she knew that this was coming. According to reports, she knew that this was coming. She knew what she was doing, that, it had this very thin line between legality and illegality. So it kind of makes me seem that she knew that this was coming. When she got that phone call, she was like, oh, Whitney, turn off my mic. And we're still mad at you, Whitney, even though I love Whitney on the show. She's so growing on me. She's just adding the comedy relief that we need for these Housewives show. So there's just something not adding up with Jen Shah.
If you think about it too, if it was her nephew or her son who was on the other end of that phone, and they were saying that, Mom, the police are here and they're storming the house and they're making everybody get out, you're not going to think, oh, it was the guy I got the restraining order on, because that wouldn't add up. And she's been in court for this before. I believe it was in 2012. Yep. So if you've already been in court for this, like Emily said, you went back and you figured out a new way to get around certain things, allegedly. If that's the case, then yeah, you should be aware that this could potentially happen. And then when it did, of course, she's going to be in shock, because they don't unseal the document until that morning. She wouldn't have known that this was about to happen that day or had any insight to it. But I feel like she knew immediately. It's like if somebody pulls you over and says, you're arrested, an organic reaction would be, what am I arrested for? What did I do? And then somebody who's guilty is like, I'm going to keep my mouth shut. I know what I did. I'm not admitting to anything.
But where did the detail come from? Okay, because she said that someone called her and told her that Coach Shah was at the hospital and wanted to meet her. But where did the internal bleeding come from? Where did the details come from?
Thinking on her feet. I don't know.
You know who knows exactly what went down that day? The feds.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly.
Jen Shah doesn't know. Jen Shah conveniently remembers what she wants to remember. The feds know what went down that day, and maybe that will come out in court. She's set to be in court next year in March, I believe. So we shall see. We're going to continue covering the story, guys. If you're just joining us, I'm here with Up and Adam and Down with Jason. Be sure to subscribe to their channels for our weekly recaps of the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City with a sprinkle of Potomac. As always, if you're watching the replay of this, let us know your thoughts, how you would rate this episode from 1 to 10. And guys, if I had to ask you that question, how would you rate this latest episode? Because we're like, what? This is episode 10, 11?
I think it's 11.
We're like over the halfway mark, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yep.
How would you rate this episode?
I would probably give it. Oh, go ahead,
Sorry,
Jason.
go ahead. No, because earlier you were rating episodes like, what did you call Potomac? 7.9?
Yeah.
Like,
What?
it has to be a number or like a 0.5. It can't be like some like gymnastics number where it's like, I'm going to rate it an 8.975. Like, it can't be that. So,
Well, I was going to give this an 8.2.
if you had to, right?
8.2.
If you had to round it, it would be an 8, right? I would say it's an 8.
Okay.
Yeah.
Adam?
8.2.
Oh, you're sticking with that. Oh,
Yeah, 8.2 is where I'm at. You know, I like seeing Mary's quirkiness and where she's like, that's what I said. And you're like, you see like the Ramona eyes come out. And then I like seeing that there is a lot of mystery here. There's mystery, like everyone's dropping little bombs and we're not really connecting the pieces. And then Meredith is really like, Lisa, I don't know what you're talking about. You're not connecting the pieces. We have two big scandals going on at the same time, even though we're hyper focusing on Jen Shah's. But it's not a 10 for me. So it's an 8.2.
Oh, okay, Adam.
Okay.
You know, speaking of Meredith, you know, she draws a line in the sand when speaking with the ladies. She says, if you're going to invite Jen Shah to anything, do not invite me. I'm confused at this timeline, though, because we remember the Brooks conversation with Jen and Meredith being there happened during the season. When did she hire this private investigator? But it seems as if she's been done with Jen. And when did the break-in, no, not the break-in, the guy, the assistant, steal from the shop, allegedly? He has denied that. When did all this happen, but you were still friendly with Jen? I'm confused. Are you guys confused with that timeline?
I'm a little confused only because, okay, we heard about him allegedly stealing the crocodile handbag or whatever, or wallet.
Python.
But then there was footage, if I'm not mistaken, I thought there was footage of him the next day bringing it back.
Yes, they did show that footage.
So, yeah.
Because he was red-handed. I'm joking.
Yeah. I don't know what the timeline is. It is confusing. I felt like it was she hired an investigator after, because like if you're trying to figure out where she says there's text messages that came too and not just tweets.
Mm-hmm. So,
I mean, do you do that? Do you do that? Like if you can push block on your phone. Like I'm not understanding why you need to investigate it and have a PI. Like, where did these come from?
I mean, I always use block, but I don't have Meredith Marks money, so it's an easier route.
I just
it's
use
a free
your
route.
phone if I want to tell someone off.
Okay, but for the timelines, you know, I think that honestly, like Krista Marie said, she said she hired, you know, the PI after the reunion, but after the reunion was when a lot of the tweets were happening. I think that she was in a dark place when it came to her friendship with Jen, so that was probably the time that she hired the PI. And then also the guy allegedly took the bag, which he did take the bag, but we don't know if he was trying to steal it or not, because he said on social media, why would I steal something in broad daylight? But then again, have you watched TV? Like people do
tell
it
us.
Yeah, you tell us. We don't know. But, you know, that also happened before they started filming a couple months before. And then she decided to bring it up because she felt like it was relevant. I don't think when Jen apologized to Brooks, here's the thing. People look at friendships very differently. Like for me, I'm one of those types of people. Once you break my trust and you do something, I know you're capable of doing that. So the friendship is not going to be the same. I'm going to keep you at an arm's distance and I have my eye on you. And then if it's like someone who, you know, Jason and I have a very small handful of really great friends that I could trust with my life. And I would treat them very differently. And for Meredith, once she crossed that line and started hurting her son, because that's still her baby, I think she was done. She's like, I don't owe you anything. You crossed the line.
Yeah, but then why have that conversation though with Brooks and her being there? It seemed like a piece. Go ahead.
No, I think she had the situation, or she had the conversation for closure and for Brooks to have a redeeming, like a moment of redemption on TV. And I feel like she thinks in her heart of hearts, Jen owed that to Brooks. But I think that's where she was leaving it. Like, okay, we've apologized. We want to forgive and forget. I forgive you. I want to forget you.
Okay. Bianca, thank you so much for the super chat. She says Lisa is looking like the new LVP. And I think I know what she's demeaning there, especially on the new
She's
report.
Currently Kyle. Can't pick a lane.
Lisa's shady as hell.
Right? Oh my goodness.
I see Lisa as a Kyle. I just see her as a Kyle. I don't know why. She gives me Kyle vibes.
Okay. As I said to you before, Meredith is a ride or die friend, apparently, except when it comes to Jen Shah, because when the issues of Mary Cosby and her church looking up to her as a god, this seems to be causing a rift in her friendship with Lisa, but drawing her closer to Mary. She actually has a conversation with Mary about what the rumors are going around. Okay, Jason, I'll ask you this. First of all, I got to bring up the picture of Mary. Hold on.
Oh gosh.
Oh, Lord, which one?
I mean,
There's always a Mary's. Yeah.
Oh no, poor Mary. We can't just leave her alone.
There's always a Mary photo. I feel like every week there's a new Mary photo, and it is.
I could have had at least 3 in this one.
I'm gonna frame them and put them on a wall. I think it'd just be interesting to talk about.
Okay, Jason, you're taking it a little too far.
Okay.
Taking it a little too far. No, but this moment for me was a prize. If you're not paying attention during the episode, there are a couple of more than a couple of moments that Mary Cosby is doing things in the background, and you're like, what is happening to her? Please check on her, including her talking to herself, then talking to the camera, breaking the fourth wall. And she's like, this started during the pandemic. I got to work on that. No, girl, we love it. Keep doing it.
I feel like sometimes we catch her trying to enhance her kookiness. Like when she's like just talking to herself and stuff, she's very aware that the cameras are there. And I think she's like, almost like Chef Rachel on Below Deck. I love Chef Rachel, but she knows that some of her one-liners last season, well, she made merch out of it. It paid for her to live in Italy. It was very beneficial to her. And people know Mary for being kind of kooky and quirky. So I feel like she's playing up on that. Also, I don't like how disinterested she seems. Like, I didn't like it when we saw Robyn disinterested in Potomac. And I don't like when Mary doesn't want to get involved with women.
It's so different than Robyn.
I know, it's very different. I like Mary a lot more for the show than Robyn. And Andy just said that Mary is a gift from the housewife gods, which whatever that means.
Yeah, I mean, she's just disinterested because it's not good enough for her. She has the Lord and Savior on speed dial. Don't you know Mary?
She says she is the Lord and Savior.
Right. Well, come on. She didn't make me, that's for sure. Ooh. But she just feels like it's not. I sometimes get the impression that it's just not good enough for her. Like, why would we do this? No, she can't make eggs. Like, I can't. But it's funny to watch. Like, she gives me this like comedy factor with it, and then her and Whitney going at it is just like, that's hilarious for me too.
Whitney was definitely drunk in that moment, though. She was definitely, you could see her eyes were glazed over.
Mary, I love you. I love you, Mary.
Yeah. Poor Whitney, though. The thing that I don't like here, though, is that it becomes an age thing. Mary makes it an age thing because she immediately dismisses her like, okay, little girl, be quiet. You're not of the same caliber. You just got out of high school. Like, that's how she treats her, which I can understand if, when Mary made the point, I don't want to have a conversation right now with her while she's drunk. She's not going to remember it tomorrow. So why am I going to waste my time? I get that. Yeah. But then sometimes when she's not drunk, you treat her the same way. So is it ever a good time to have a conversation with her? Or do you just think she's not worthy of your time?
That last part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
That's exactly what she thinks. But I don't like that about Mary.
I love the comment, though. I thought it's so funny. Like, Mary always she's very quick. For someone who is just kind of out there. And when Whitney said, I'm not your child, she's like, what did she say? Thank God.
Mm-hmm.
Look, here's the thing. I have to give it to Whitney because even despite them fighting, she made that eggs for Mary. But Mary was like, I need to put this in the microwave because she didn't wash her hands. I'm like, did you guys not see Heather take the French toast with her bare hands and put it on the plate? I said, this is nasty. I can't.
Hey, leave Heather alone though. She just likes her meat on a stick. She likes a good lollipop. She likes, she's good.
Well, guys, if I make you something, I'm not using my bare hands to transfer food to a plate.
But also, I don't want it in the microwave after it's been. No.
I mean, I'm super weird about this stuff too. We went to Jason's, his family's big
Mormon family reunion. Yes.
Big Mormon family reunion. And I saw a bunch of like the kids start digging into the buffet. And I was like, oh, I can't eat that because all of these kids are in it now. So then the next 2 days, I was the first one in line. Like, I'm touching this first or else I'm not doing a buffet. I'm going to be the same way at Thanksgiving. I don't like communal food situations.
Listen, my ancestors were pioneers. You would eat anything.
Ooh, okay, pioneers.
But my ancestors were Northern Alabama settlers. So,
okay.
I mean, at least that's what DNA Ancestry says.
No,
actually, I don't know where my ancestors are from. I think we're Croatian. But the point is, I'm not actually here for a buffet. That's all.
Understandably, but I mean, amongst friends, I'm like, okay, but not with your bare hands. And do you believe that a microwave will kill the germs? Because that's it's Mary Cosby. I'm not going to Google it because Mary Cosby would be mad.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I think that's in her head. But it's funny because that's one extreme from, that to Heather dropping something on the bus floor, a piece of food, and then like picking it up and being like 3-second roll. I was like,
I love Heather though.
Pioneer ancestors.
No, ma'am. No, I would not do that either.
First of all, Heather is a ride or die. I think that's going to blow up in her face when it comes to Jen Shah. But she just adds so much comedy relief also during the show.
Yeah.
Heather's probably the only one that I would want to be friends with from that cast, like actual friends with, because she just seems funny and she's so open about her Mormon upbringing, her, shunning her sister, who we get to see next week. I was like, oh, she's setting us up perfectly for her Bad Mormon book. This is the best ever Housewives setup for a book that I've ever seen.
Really quick. So no, I just with Heather, I'm really enjoying her Kempire the same way. Like she's funny. She just seems like cool and like kind of normal, but like I don't know. It was really interesting. There's so many layers to her. Hearing her story, I didn't know she served a mission in the south of France. In fact, I didn't even know she served a mission at all. And it's just so interesting to like learn all these things about her, because when you serve a mission with the church, and you're going overseas, you spend a lot of time before learning the language and getting ready to go, go on the mission. I wonder if I know she like said, how you say something in French, but I wonder if she speaks French, and she just has so many like interesting, there's so many like interesting little tidbits.
Layers.
Yeah.
Adam.
I mean, I'm a huge Heather fan. I didn't think that she really brought a whole lot to the very beginning of this season, if I'm being honest with you, and I was disappointed by that. But I feel like we're about to get a lot of great Heather moments moving forward. If I had to be honest, who I would hang out with from the cast outside of it, I could see myself spending time with Whitney or Heather. Whitney keeps saying every time, I talk to Whitney on social media, Instagram sometimes. Jason texts with her. I don't have her phone number, which is so funny because I'm the one who did the interview and Jason made friends with her. I don't know how that happened, but same thing happened with Monique too, by the way. Jason's like, I'm closer to your age demographic. Let's talk. And they're like, Adam, who? I'm like, okay.
We were talking about like crazy things.
Yeah. Jason like talks about like politics and like what's happening in the world. And I'm like, did you just see Ariana Grande have a slip in her costume? No. So it's just very different. But no, she keeps on saying we have to go up there and there's this great lunch spot where you get in like these hot springs and then you go out and have lunch after in these robes and you get to have rosé and try all these different things. And I'm like, yes, I could totally see myself vibing with Whitney and Heather.
Same. I agree with that. I agree with that. I just want to say thank you to Kevinique for the super chat. Thank you so much. These ladies are exaggerating with Mary thinking she is God. In the South, it means in the form of intercession. It's a big thing in the Bible Belt. And I got that vibe as well. I don't believe the church necessarily views her as God, but definitely probably something from God,
like a king or something where
something like that. Go ahead.
Yeah, where God speaks through you, or
yes.
Yeah.
That's why people still like Pastor Jamal Bryant.
I mean, I've heard a lot of people like Pastor Jamal Bryant. So
For a lot of women like Pastor Jamal Bryant.
Oh, you know. Guys, we have almost 600 people in the room. Be sure to like this video if you haven't liked it already. And of course, be sure to follow my guests, Up and Adam and Down with Jason, on their channels. All their information is located in the description of the video, including their socials. So be sure to follow them on social media as well. We are talking about the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Guys, I mean, a lot happened throughout the episode. We're having a conversation. That's how I like to do these recaps. Let's have a conversation about the episode. As I said to you before, Heather's probably the one I would hang out with the most. Whitney as well. I like Whitney. But the relationship with Lisa Barlow, Whitney, and Heather, one minute it seems like they're getting along. Another minute it seems like, they're going to turn on each other. And that does seem to happen, especially when it comes to the rumors about Mary Cosby and her church. Lisa and Meredith have a conversation earlier in the day. That conversation comes up again about Mary at night because Mary is cranky and moody. And mind you, I watched this last night and I was tired when I was watching it. And I felt, and I could be moody too, though. And I felt for Mary, I was like, Mary, just go to bed. Mary, just go to bed. Go to sleep.
Don't bring the energy down. Don't ruin the vibe.
yeah, I mean, she was ruining the vibe, but she sets herself apart. Like I'm too old to be doing this, or I'm too good to be doing this. And I'm the same way. To be fair, when I get cranky, nothing is good enough. I'm just cranky. Leave me alone. I mean, ask Jason. Like most times a crab cake, Benny, and a mimosa, they cure it. But if I'm cranky, just get away from me.
Well, Jason, could you relate to Mary being cranky, or you think she's just a stick in the mud?
No, I mean, come on. You have to set yourself up for success. So she should have done that. You're going on a girls' trip. You know you don't like trips and things like that, but just be prepared to participate.
Yeah.
Right. Don't always like, I don't like the cold. I don't like skating. I don't know. There's always something. She didn't like going tubing. She didn't like really hanging out with anyone.
She's just one of those types of people, I think. I think she just likes to kind of be to herself in her closet, in her home, just staying.
The pandemic worked out well for her. She made a new friend herself. And it's just proved to be a great relationship.
Shady.
I have to say, watching Mary Cosby stuck in her home, I'm like, I need to get out of my house today. I need some fresh air. I'm like, I don't want to turn out to be Mary Cosby talking to myself, even though I do it anyway. When I saw Mary Cosby doing it, I said, I do not want to end up like Mary Cosby. But maybe I do, because apparently she's scamming her churchgoers out of $300,000, them mortgaging their homes.
What do you mean? How come you do? No. I can't. I mean, we've heard the story before, Adam. I think even on your interview with one of her cousins,
Dan Cosby,
there was they talked about this.
Yeah. Sorry.
Now that it's coming to fruition, I'm like, holy hell! Like now we're hearing it from multiple people, and it looks like Mary's gonna just say that it was just a lie and a rumor.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, though, her relative revealed in that interview that not only did she get a couple properties when her grandmother died and she married her grandfather, she received a mortgage company and a few businesses. So the mortgage company, this is all alleged, right? But he said this to me. It was actually, Jason, almost a year ago that I did that interview. And he said, listen, this is what she does. She goes around to different church members, allegedly, and she tells them that the church needs money, and so take out money against their mortgage and put it in, and then it's a good sign for them, and they'll be rewarded in heaven and all this other stuff. And I thought, wow, this sounds wild, but apparently they did it to this guy, Dan, allegedly, who I did the interview with. They did it to his mom. And he wanted to come out and share the information because he actually contacted them and said, give my mom her money back, or I'm going to tell everyone that Mary is allegedly over here hooking up with some other guy and she has some other issues, and I'm going to expose that. He went on this whole rant. And then Robert Sr. called him and said, you better shut it down, friend. You don't want this smoke. So there's a lot more behind the scenes that we don't know about.
AKA dad in her cell phone, Robert Sr. Have you guys seen that?
No, that's strange. That's just weird. It's weird. It's weird. Like if you think it's weird for them to have a shot ski, I think it's weird that you have your grandfather who's your husband and your phone as your dad. That's weird.
That is very strange. They also allude during this episode, guys. I know we're rounding out the hour. They also allude that Mary might have had something with Cameron. May he rest in peace.
Well, but Lisa doesn't. This is the thing that I don't like. Like Lisa, I hate it in real life and I hate it on TV. When people are like, well, I heard that they had a special friendship. Well, what does that mean? Oh, I don't know. I didn't say anything. Don't ask me. It's like, then what you did? You just put this out there and now we're going to run with it. So if we're going to run with it, give us some clarity.
I also heard you get her tequila episode.
Recapping. Her crying Jason years. I'm just like, what is happening here? Jason, Vita from Lisa.
Huh?
Did you get your from Lisa?
No. I was just saying. You've also told us we can get your tequila at Total Wine. Actually, I am getting Vita tequila finally. I'm getting it a week and a half from one of our amazing mods, and yeah, and I've compiled over 20 photos and messages on people who can't find it, where they can find it, where it's limited, and it's all going to Lisa. So you're welcome.
Oh,
I love how Dee said in the chat, Adam is always on Mary's case. That's not true. I like the quirky side of Mary, but I just feel like Mary doesn't want to be there half the time. Like she doesn't want to go,
who's going to be all over her case is Hulu. They have another documentary to do.
Oh, damn. That's going to be a really good one, though, because we're going to have so many church members talking. I don't know about you guys, but for me, as I said to you before at the top of this episode, Jen Shah, to me, that storyline in comparison to everyone talking about their relationships with Jen and what's going on with Mary. The production, shout out to you guys. You have not put all your eggs in one basket when it comes to the storyline this season. You're branching out. You're giving us a lot of Mary kooky moments, Mary's church moments, and Jen Shah happens to be there. Do you guys agree?
Yeah, actually.
Like, damn. Okay.
No, I do agree because we're seeing the whole Jen Shah thing like happen, unfold, but we're paying attention to a lot of other things. It's not like Beverly Hills.
Yeah, and I like the fact that they, still brought Jen into this episode this week, and we got to see a glimpse of her, even though it was a short period of time. I enjoyed, the pan back over to Salt Lake City and see Jen go into this very pre-produced lawyer visit, whatever you want to call it. But I still enjoyed it because I wanted to see her. And since she's the topic of conversation, we should be showing her. We also should be going inside the church, but in due time.
In due time. And I know next week there's going to be more to talk about in regards to Mary Cosby and her church. Look, I'm excited about it, but I'm also excited about what you guys have coming up. I'll start with Jason. What's coming up for you and where can people follow you?
Oh my gosh. Well, you can follow me at Down with Jason, where we do some reality recaps and talk some pop culture, etc. But tomorrow night, we're recapping Below Deck on Anchor Watch. It's our late night talk show at 11 p.m. And I look forward to that every week. But I'm also looking forward to Thanksgiving this week. So I hope everyone has a great Thanksgiving.
Like Kimber's like, oh yeah.
I'm so ready for Thanksgiving. I'm ready to eat. Listen, I know we're glamping, but I'm ready to eat Adam's dad's food. It's very good.
Not me. At least somebody's going to be eating it.
I'll have both.
Okay. What is coming up for you and where can people? First of all, everyone can. All the links to your social medias and YouTubes are available in the description of this video. But what's coming up, Adam? I know you always have something coming up besides your big glamping trip.
So this is a crazy week for us, By the way, Kempire, I was going to say, if you're around at 3:00 today, we're going to drop, I think there's 10 to 12 different topics of Andy Cohen revealing how he feels about certain housewives and stuff. And I'm curious about the conversation. So if you're around, we'd love to have you at 3. We're doing that live. And then also tomorrow, we're going live with Emily D. Baker at 2:30 p.m. to break down the latest about Stuart Smith and what some of these documents mean and what it means for Jen moving forward. We have a Real Housewives of Miami interview coming up. We have things happening, but again, it's a holiday week. So it's just weird. I feel like we're all in limbo trying to wait and see what's next. And we're trying to enjoy our time because, when this is all over, family's everything. But right now, it's just like when I see my family, I'm like, wait a minute. Stiff arm, YouTube.
Well, guys, first of all, happy Thanksgiving to you both. Either way, I'll be texting you on Thanksgiving. But here, you know, for our weekly collaboration on the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City with a sprinkle of Potomac, happy Thanksgiving to you both and your families. Thank you so much for taking the time out to do this today. I know it's a busy Monday. I appreciate you both. And I appreciate everyone that sent in the super chat. Shout out to our moderators. Shout out to our Team Kempire and Royal Court members. If you'd like to become a member of the channel, head on over to TeamKempire.com. And again, be sure to follow our guests for next week because we will be on Up and Adam's channel recapping the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Thank you all for being here. Don't forget to like the video, and I'll see you guys later.